Just a minute. Let me start. Perfect. So thank you all for joining. And we have collected here to have a discussion about data science, right? So first of all, as you must have seen that some of you might have got this document, you might have got this curriculum. So you might have gone through that. In the first few minutes, we are going to discuss about what is data science. So as to give you some idea about what you're going to learn, what things are there to learn in data science, and how we can help you in that journey. Correct. So first of all, just giving my introduction a little bit. Okay. Right. So giving my introduction a little bit, let's discuss about it now. So my name is Shikhar, and I have been teaching it for the last, you can say 3 to 4 years. And I have taught over 5,000 candidates and professionals. And also in the industry, I have given some, you can say, the training sessions in multiple MNCs like EXL and Infosys. I've given corporate trainings also related to data science. In the last years of training that I have done, so I have been associated with multiple edtech companies which are there in this country, and I've discussed a lot of things with them. So what I observed is the problem of the student is since there are a lot of candidates in one session, they don't get to discuss much with the trainers. Every session has like 100, 150 candidates that I handle in those MNCs. So a lot of candidates don't get to ask their question, don't get to ask their doubts. Second problem is that the course fee in multiple of those programs is that now you must see that there are like hundreds of programs in the everywhere around you if you see. So there are a lot of free programs also, a lot of paid programs also. But what we are trying to do is that whatever the pain points of the candidates are, we are going to take it, we are going to deal with it. And exactly whatever has to be taught in data science, we are going to discuss that. Because what has happened in the last 2 to 3 years, after this COVID time, the scenario of the data science has changed a lot. And many of the courses are still, many of the programs are still following the past patterns, which are now outdated and you're not going to get a job in that. So a lot of students are still studying data science. If you see like every second or every third person is trying to learn something in data, either data analysis or business analysis or research analysis or data science or machine learning. All of these things, a lot of candidates are trying to learn, but they are not able to secure a job, even though there are thousands and thousands of jobs available. Because the thing is that data science is actually a very high responsibility task. And many of the candidates don't have the skill to handle those high responsibility tasks. They just have a very basic knowledge of what has to be done on the job. But data science is not just about writing the code and somehow completing the project. It is much about how you can help the company, how the company can extract the efficiency out of you, because they are dependent upon their revenue, they are dependent upon their growth based upon the insights that are going to give them. So if I discuss what I have observed in the last few years, and also there has been a lot of surveys done by Deloitte and these companies. So what is observed that 90% of the candidates who take up these training programs, they have not worked on actual data that is used in the industry. The data that is given to the candidates to practice is quite simple and very, very easy to work. You don't get any type of data like that in the industry. The data in the industry is quite different from what you see. It is very complicated. And most of the time, the candidates don't know where to start and what to do with that data. Since it is very complicated and you don't understand a clear path that has to be taken through that. A lot of times, what has happened is a lot of companies are jumping up to data science but many of those companies don't actually need data science. Correct. So a lot of things can be tackled with without data science, with data science. So what has to be done in those cases, how you can put into those roles yourself, how you can put into actual data science roles, that is what we are going to discuss. Because what happens is around the world, if I talk about especially developing countries like India, so in the name of data science, you are going to mostly do the task of analysis, business analysis, data analysis, where you don't get to actually deal with the data science part, which is the most interesting part that you know. So very few candidates get to work on that, and that too, like after 3 to 4 years, 4 years of experience. So that push. So what you need to know as a fresher, what things you're going to do as a professional in the first 2 years of your job, all those things, all those roadmaps we are going to discuss with you. So stay for a few minutes, and you're going to see what I'm talking about, what things are different, and what you're seeing in the market, which is outdated most of the time. So training 5,000 students, and I have trained students from 30 plus countries. So I have observed, I've discussed with the candidates of multiple countries, be it Saudi Arabia, be it Australia, be it Germany, Italy, wherever you talk about. I've dealt with the candidates in that. I've taught multiple postgraduate programs in data science. So I have a complete knowledge, a complete comprehensive knowledge. A lot of the curriculums also have helped companies make. Since I have already worked with, currently, I have worked with 6 companies directly, and I have indirectly, you can say, for the curriculum creation, and you can say of what path to take, how to create that whole design of that curriculum. I have done that with 13 companies currently. So I have a proper idea about what should be done, what should not be done, what has to be avoided, and what has to be taught in detail. Those are the things we are going to discuss. So let us move to this curriculum part, and I'm going to show you what exactly you need to learn. From wherever you learn, that is your choice. But what is that? What is that roadmap you need to take to have a very clear journey of data science? Now, data science is a very vast topic. If you start searching about the data science, you will see that data science could be practiced for, or you can say you can take more than 1.5 years to learn actual data science, right? And whenever you join as a fresher in the company, you get a role as a data scientist, but you don't become a data scientist without a lot of industry experience, without a lot of, you can say, dealing with actual data. Now, when you're dealing with data, what you're doing as a data scientist is you are responsible for the growth of the company. You're trying to find out insights from the data, which is going to affect the growth of the company directly. So in that case, only code does not matter. Code is a very big part of your data science role. Obviously, you're going to write code, you're going to make project. But in the data science, the code is quite simple, and you're not going to face much issue in writing the code. That is the easier part of it. What is the difficult part is understanding the business aspect of it and understanding why you're doing something. Should it be avoided? Should it be taken another route? Because you have a lot of time constraint, you have a lot of resource constraint in this data science domain, right? So we're going to discuss about that. Starting from the very first thing where you start your journey, from very first topic where you start your journey. Obviously, to make a data science project, you're going to pick up one of the languages. Now, the language can be anything, any one of the language. You have multiple languages in the industry which are used for different purposes. You have Java, you have JavaScript, you have C, C++, Python, Go, Dart, different languages are there. But if you use Python, your journey is going to become like 20x simpler, right? So if you use Python programming language for data science, your journey will become 20 times simpler. What is the reason for that? We will discuss about that in upcoming sessions. But that is the reason mainly Python programming is used. You can do data science with any language wherever you want. But if you use languages like Java, C, C++, the code that you're going to write will become too long as compared to what you're going to write in Python. Now, no. Obviously, in the 5 days, it cannot be done. So we are just going through these sessions one by one. And if you are ready to enroll for the complete program, then we will be doing. This is a 4-month session, correct? Complete 4-month curriculum it is. It cannot be obviously completed in 5 days. In 5 days, I'm going to give you a starting idea so that you can judge whether you like the teaching style or not. So those are the things, correct? No, the complete program is paid, but the starting 5 sessions are free. You can discuss about with the team whatever your doubts are about that. Correct? So let's have a discussion about what you need to learn. The very first thing is the programming fundamentals using Python. Correct? Uh, yes, obviously. The main thing is we have tried to keep it very affordable. The thing is that if you go to in the industry and if you look at the multiple programs being offered, you will see that very commonly the courses are starting from $1,500 easily. Correct? If you talk about the pricing, and if you go to the higher end, you will see that there are programs of $5,000 also, which is going to teach you the exact same thing which we have in this curriculum, and we are going to keep the price very less. Okay, so you can discuss that with the team. That is a different part, but for now, just have an idea about what you can expect from us. Are you comfortable with that or not? Are you comfortable with my style or not? Those are the things we are going to discuss. Okay. So I'll not keep this session very long. We'll have a small discussion and then I'll show you some things about Python basics. Correct? Now, as a starter, when you're starting in the journey of this data science, the code that you're going to write, as I said, is going to be not a very difficult thing. What happens is if you learn other programming languages, those programming languages have a, you can say, higher learning curve. Correct? They have a very steep learning curve. So you need to spend a very good amount of time, like 2 to 3 months, to have a very good fundamental in those languages. But Python is one such language. If you give proper time, so you can learn fundamental Python, which is needed for data science, in like 2 weeks. Correct? You can have a good idea about that. Obviously, you will need to practice a lot of programming questions to have the understanding of how to solve a question. But when talking about the Python fundamentals, how does a programming language work? How do you write a code? How do you think about the solution of a problem? So those things will be quite clear in just 2 weeks of that. We are going to spend more than the 2 weeks. We are going to go into depth of that because we'll be solving like 50 plus programming questions so that you have a clear idea about the patterns using which programming questions are solved. We'll start from very basic, like drawing things and understanding how the flow of the program goes through. Now, second thing which you will need to learn in this data science is something called as numpy and pandas. What these are actually your data manipulation modules. Data manipulation. What happens when you're dealing with data that is given to you to make a project, whether it is a machine learning project, whether it is a data science project, whatever you're doing in the data field, you will have to manipulate the data. Because the data will not be according to how you like it to be. The data is collected from multiple sources, and those multiple sources will have different type of data, and different problems will be available in the data, will be present in the data. So to remove those problems, to make your data problem free so that proper analysis could be done and good information can be extracted out of it, for that purpose, data manipulation is done. What we basically do in this data manipulation is that the cleaning of the data that you know. So if I have some missing values, I will clean that. If I have unnecessary data, columns, rows that I'm going to delete. If I have to create some extra data, so I will be able to do that also. So these two, NumPy and Pandas, are actually the most powerful tools, most powerful packages that exist in industry, which is going to help you for manipulation purpose. So there are a lot of things we are going to discuss in that. How do you fetch data from multiple sources? So if you have a data in the form of Excel file, if you have a data in the form of text file, if you have a data in the form of databases, SQL databases, NoSQL databases, if you have to extract data from a website directly. So how do you extract those things? And then you write code to extract analytical information from that. Those are the things which are covered in this module. Wherever you study, these are the things you're going to understand. So we will make sure that you do the in-depth analysis properly and you go through everything that you will do in the job. Okay, whatever has to be done firsthand on the job, we are going to take that kind of data, which will be quite complicated, quite messy. Next. This module is called the backbone of data science, right? So if you have to take one, if you're just going to take one thing from the session, you can take the roadmap that I'm discussing with you, and that will give you a guideline. So whether you're comfortable with data science or does something feel difficult to you, right? So those kind of things, and how to learn it also, what type of time frame to give in to learn this. Also, you will be clear with that. Now, in talking about statistics for data science, statistics is actually a part of mathematical domain. And if you go and learn statistics, it is quite vast. You can do a 4-year degree, 5-year degree in this statistics completely. It is that much vast. But when you talk about statistics for data science, it is not that much that you have to learn those things which is taught over 4 years. There are specific things, there are specific tools that you're going to apply on the data to analyze it. That is what we are going to talk about. So exactly what is asked in the interviews, exactly what you do on the data, what things you apply on the data, that things we will study, that topics we will study, nothing more, nothing less, exactly what we need. Now, if you have to spend more time, if you like the statistics, I will share a lot of resources with you where you can go in depth of it and you can become a statistical analyst, right? There is a post of statistical analyst in governments, also in multiple big companies where you do the statistical analysis, right? That is a very separate post. That is a very, you can say, prestigious post, like a data scientist. You're going to get the same payment and all of that. Now, so these are the things. What you study in that, there is a topic called as descriptive statistics. There is a probability distribution topic. There is an inferential statistics, and there is a hypothesis testing. Out of all of these topics, what is the most asked and most important topic for the real world projects is this hypothesis testing. It is one of the most complicated also, one of the most confusing topics also, but it is one of the most interesting topics also, where you see the results on the real data in the real time. You actually see something happening with this topic. So we'll make sure again that you have a very clear understanding, a very fun learning experience in this case also, talking about statistics for data science. Whatever is required for you, all those topics are mentioned. Now, these topics are like major topics. Inside of that, multiple small topics are there. So you'll have a lot of things. Whatever is needed will be there. Then next we come to the data visualization. What we do in data visualization is that once you have done statistical analysis by writing code and by writing formulas and all of that, after that, we need to have a visual introduction to the data. I need to visually see what type of patterns, what type of relationships do exist in the given data. Correct. So for that purpose, there is a complete module which is called data visualization, which is again a very important part. If you don't visualize something, if you don't see that in a visual format, a lot of observations don't become clear to you. So you understand a lot of things, very, very interesting, very, very crucial things. On the basis of that, you can take further decisions, become very clear when you visualize something. Now, in this case, we have first a Python code. With Python, we can do some basic visualization. But if you have to do more interesting visualization, more powerful visualizations, so there are separate tools which are created in the industry, which is used by the professionals. And one of that tool is called Tableau. With Tableau, there is another tool, which is like the alternative of this Tableau, is called Power BI. So some people like to learn Power BI, some people like to learn Tableau. It is upon their preference. Those who don't know about these tools, we will go through Tableau because Tableau is used by 80% companies. Correct? In 80% cases, this tool is used for visualization purpose in the company, and 20% of the companies use this. Not complete 20%. There are other tools also. So you can say around 13-14% companies use this, and rest of the companies use other tools which are there. So if someone is interested in this, we'll try to arrange for that also, right? Just a minute. Now, in this Tableau, we are going to see what way you can create advanced visualization. That will be the agenda for this particular model. Now, talking about model number 6, what you need to learn is something called as SQL. Now, SQL are again the second backbone of data science. First is statistics, which is the very, very important part of data science. And the second backbone, you can say, is the SQL. Very important for the interview perspective also, and for the real job also. Very, very important. So in this case, what happens is you have the task of designing a database and then running the query, writing something so that you can analyze that database. Whatever data is stored in those databases, you can analyze that information. But we as a data scientist don't have to create those databases. That is the work of a software developer. They are responsible for creating these databases. We as a data scientist only have to care about querying the databases. So I will give you a basic idea about database creation, how that process goes through, what things are kept in consideration before databases are created. But that is a very extensive process. A lot of things are there. So our task will be to query the databases. Query is basically we write a statement like structure, and whatever we write, according to that, we get some information extracted out of the stored data. So in this case, again, some advanced tools are there in SQL. We are going to talk about that, these topics, views, CDs, window functions, everything that is required for data scientists. We are going to cover every single topic, interview perspective and in-hand job, both of that. Then after we have done SQL, then we start moving to the machine learning domain. So the thing about data science is that data science is actually a combination of these two small things. Not small, but very major topics. The first is data analysis. And if you combine the skill of machine learning with that, correct, if you apply the skill of machine learning in that, then what you get is called data science. Correct. Now, what do you do in data analysis? Data analysis is basically the study of the past data. Okay, if you have to understand in a very simple, in a very basic statement, how you can understand, how you can define data analysis is study of the past data. When you study the past data, what you're trying to do is you're trying to understand the pattern or what things have happened in the past events. So whatever has happened in the past, it is believed that something like that is going to be done in the future. That is also going to happen in the future. So that data tells you what you can expect in the future. And on the basis of that past information, we design the things, we take the steps that is going to help us grow in the future for every company. That is the need of study of the past data. That is why data analysis is very important, a very integral part of the industry. Every company is trying to do that. It is most crucial thing that is there in nowadays. After 3 to 4 years, what will happen? Even the people like web developers, Android developers, normal software developers, they will also need to have some sort of data analysis skills. Correct? Because there will be so much demand of these things, these skills, that everyone will need to have some sort of knowledge of data analysis. So this data science thing has been there in the industry for, you can say, last 6-7 years. It has been growing very fast in the last 6-7 years. But if you look at the industry, mostly you will observe that we are still in the stage 1 of data science, still in the stage 1 of data science. And if you're learning it now, you're going to have the advantage of it. You're going to take advantage of this thing for at least next 10 years, at least. Now, you might be asking that with the chat GPT, is it still going to be relevant? Because we are seeing that chat GPT can write a lot of code. If you have not seen about the chat GPT, it has been a new tool in AI that can write a lot of code. So you might be asking that, is it going to be still relevant as it is today in the next 5 years, 10 years? No one can give you that answer exactly, but what you have to think about is the current scenario. No one knows. So if you're saying that I will learn web development, so someone will say that ChatGPT can write the code of creating websites also. So you can't learn that. If you have to create softwares, ChatGPT is writing the code to create softwares also. So in that way, you will not be able to learn anything. What you have to think about is how you can take advantage of that now. Correct. And you don't have to change your roles. You don't have to change your company. If you're already doing a job, you can just have the skill, and obviously you're going to get advantage of that. Correct. So we are still in the stage one. There are still a lot of things that are coming in the industry that are being done. If you talk about the developing countries, we are not properly in the stage one also. Correct. So still a lot of things have to be done. Very interesting things will come into the future. And talking about this data analysis, it has become a very crucial part. Like every company now needs data analysis team. Next thing, machine learning. So what does machine learning do here? Machine learning basically gives you a capability to predict the future outcomes based on the past data. Now, past data will tell you that what will happen in the future. It will give you some estimate of what will happen in the future. But instead of you making that prediction, instead of you making that assumption of the future, why don't you let an advanced tool make that prediction for you, make that future assumption for you? Because machine learning is set of a lot of mathematical tools and statistical tools, which is way advanced than what we can do. Correctly, because it can understand the patterns in the data, it can understand the intricacies in the data much better than we humans can do. So instead of we assuming what will happen in the future, we take help of machine learning to predict the future outcomes. That is what a very basic explanation of machine learning is that. So both of the things, when you combine a skill of data analysis and a skill of machine learning, you get data science, right? So this gives you data analysis, gives you that analytical skills, and machine learning gives you predictive skills. So both combined will make you a lot more employable person in the industry, right? So when we go to this machine learning part, so machine learning part start from this particular topic, which is called feature engineering. What is feature engineering? Feature engineering is nothing but you think about a data. Let me show your data that is there in. Let me just show you. Right. So now you're looking at one of the data which is used for credit card fraud detection. Credit card fraud detection is one of the very, you can say, famous tasks in finance industry. A lot of financial fraud is happening, which is related to credit cards. So this is a data which might look completely confusing to you, which might look not meaningful at all, right? But from this complicated data, you will be able to extract those kind of insights, which you will not believe that some sort of insights are hidden into this data, which looks very random. So what feature engineering is basically, feature is called a column. A column is given a name in machine learning world, which is called a feature. What you can do with this feature, you can manipulate this feature, you can change the feature according to your needs so that it can give you better prediction results. If you don't think that this is capable enough to give you the results that you're looking for, to give you the accuracy that you're looking for, you can play with that, you can manipulate that, you can engineer that to give a better results. In feature engineering, what happens, you create some extra columns based upon the already existing columns. You try to find out some columns which are related to each other, and you might engineer some new features on the basis of that. And that is a very common thing. That is a very frequent thing that is done by the data scientist in the machine learning procedure. So what things we do here, like I said, one task is that. Second task is dealing with the outliers. Outliers are basically extreme values which are going to create problems. So we deal with that. Feature transformation, transforming the data according to what we need. Correct. These things are there. Okay. Sorry, a little bit I have a cough problem. So next. So next we move into the core machine learning. Core machine learning, which is the algorithms, which is the real techniques of machine learning. And in that case, first, before moving to machine learning part, we are going to have an introduction about a very famous technique, which is called CRISP-DM framework. This is nothing but it is the set of steps that you take before you move to the part where you solve the real world problems of the industry. So it is called CRISP-DM framework. In this case, what you do before going to the project solving part, before you go to the writing code to solve the problem, the most important step, the very first and the very most important step in the data science is business and data understanding. Many will say that it is the collection of the data, or it is writing the correct code, or it is like solving it in you can say shorter amount of time. Those are, you can say, secondary things. But the most important part in the field of data science, when you have to start a project, is the business understanding and data understanding. What happens is, if you are not clear about the business problem, if you're not clear about what you're trying to solve with that particular project, you might create a project. You might do your best, but that project will be thrown in the dustbin because it is doing everything except the task it was supposed to do. It is doing something very brilliantly, but that was not required for us. What you have to do was a little bit different thing. So if you change the problem statement, if you change the business statement a little bit also, you can go into a very different direction and you can solve a very different problem than what is needed for the company. So you spent your hard working hours and you spent 3 months, 4 months solving a task which is now not needed in this case. So that is a very bad thing. Before we go and understand those things, let me show you how a problem statement looks like in the industry. That is an actual problem statement I'm going to show you. Let's see. You might not have seen this before because these are very rare things. See, this is a problem statement which has been solved in the OLA. Actual problem statement which the data analyst and business analyst of the OLA has solved that. Similar problem statement has been solved in the companies like Uber and Rapido, whoever is dealing with this kind of industry. Right? It is a ride-sharing platform. So Uber, Ola, and different countries have different platforms like that. So if you're able to understand one platform, how that problem is solved, same thing applies to other companies also. And you can explain it in any scenario. Now, what is a very big problem of these ride-sharing platforms is that the recruiting and retaining of the drivers. Very, very complicated process, very, very difficult thing for the companies so that their drivers don't leave. What happens is if the drivers leave, then obviously there will be less cars available, less bikes available for the taxi purpose, for the sharing purpose, ride sharing purpose. And if there are less taxi available, so people will use less of that platform and they will start to move to the competitor platform because they have more drivers, they have more cars around. So why will I not take other platforms? Why will I not use platforms like Uber if they have more cars available, right? I will start to use that. So that is a very big problem. The companies need to understand beforehand when a driver is going to leave so that they can have a replacement in time, or they can somehow convince the driver to stay in the company. Maybe they can increase their share of the revenue for a few months when they're not getting business, whatever is that. Correct. Now, In this case, yes, please, if you have any questions, if you want to discuss, you are free to do that anytime. Correct. Now, see, this is a very, very common case. Our customer don't care about company. We just need a good service. And if I'm getting a good service in the, you can say, competitor company, I will go to that. I will use that application. I'll use their service. So that is a very big problem that has been solved, that has been tackled by this Ola, Uber, all of these platforms. And we are going to go through exact same process, exact same data set, and you're going to see the things that has to be done. So we have a data set available to us, which is actually used in that company, where you have these details. We have the driver ID, age of the driver, gender, city, education level, income, date of joining, and all of these, on the basis of these information, we have to predict what tells us that a driver is going to leave, what tells us that they want some support from the team so that they can stay. Now, what is expected from you once you're going to create the projects? The projects are going to be major projects. These are not small projects to solve, obviously. So these are capstone projects, industry capstone projects. To solve that, what steps you need to take, how you have to create that project. Everything is mentioned, everything will be mentioned to you, and these kind of documents will be given to you for most of the problem statements. Now, if you look at all of these steps, it will make your journey very easy. It will make it very clear what you have to do and how you have to go through that. So you can make a very proper project and you can very confidently present that to the recruiters. The amount of project, the type of projects we are going to make, you will not find these projects in, you can say 90% of the programs that you see online. Okay, I can guarantee that the type of data sets that we have, the type of problem statements I'm going to give you, you will simply not find this in at least 90% of the programs. Where you're going to find these things, they will be charging 20 to 30 times more of this program. That also I can guarantee. I can show you multiple examples of that. Correct? Now, we have more than 10 major projects that you're going to make. Only 3-4 of that is required to get a good job. So we are going to make 10. And if needed, we are going to make more also. Suppose if you're applying for a domain-specific company, if you're applying for an e-commerce company and you need more projects like that. So we can do that also on one basis if you need for that. If you're applying for, let's say, sports industry, you want to go for sports analytics. If you need projects like that, we can help you for that also. So in data science, multiple domains are there, where finance is the #1 domain, because a lot of problems exist in the industry, which is finance related. Whether you talk about frauds happening, or the loans to be given to the customer, the loans to be given to the businesses so that the banks can earn money from that. Where not to be given loan, because you are seeing that a lot of banks have NPS, non-performing assets. Correct. So to deal with that, how do these banks deal with that, and how do they give the loan to the actual customer with proper interest rate so that they don't lose money also and they don't lose the business also. So a very similar type of problem statement we have here. Let me show you, which is a very common and very much used financial problem statement, which is this. So 𝐿WPLabs Bank is an actual bank. You can search on the internet also. This is an actual company which has come up in very recent time. It has got a lot of funding also because of the work it is doing. What happened in India was, this is India specific company and it is trying to deal with a problem which was there in the financial world. Same thing, anywhere you are, you will have similar type of companies in every part of the world, and you can relate it with all the platforms. So if you are able to present this particular problem statement, if you have solved this, so you can explain it to in any case. No one will say that, why didn't you solve this, or why didn't you solve for this particular company? You need one example. All the data sets are basically same, wherever you are. Now, what this company was facing, what this company is trying to solve in India is 80% of the rural individuals and businesses find it difficult to access formal credit. because they don't have any job. They don't have any particular documentation. If you talk about the farmers and small businesses, those are people who have not done even proper education. The people who have done proper education, they have their education history, they have proper certifications and all of that. So they can present a lot of documents, they can present required documents to the banks to get a loan, if you talk about big startups, big companies. But if you talk about the rural individuals who are farmers and small business owners who have not done proper education also, and they want to do this kind of thing, a lot of them are successful. Farming is very famous in India, also in US, also a lot of revenue is generated with that. So banks are not able to give loan to these people because they don't have a proper documentation to present. So it becomes very risky for the banks to give the loans in these cases. Now, if they are giving the loan to these people, they are playing with the risk, but they are also tapping into a market of 80% left out individuals, left out businesses, 80% of that. So if they are able to get profit from, let's say, 20% of them also, 20% of them goes to become a good company, and some of them fail also, then they will have a very good profit to make in the long run, right? Because their investment can multiply to 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x also in these cases. So we are going to discuss about what tools this company should launch and how effective those tools are going to be to tackle this financial problem. Like there is a very famous tool which is going through in India, which is buy now, pay later. If you don't have the money, we will finance so that you can purchase the loan, purchase the goods that is needed for you. You start the farming process, you start your business, whichever is required. When you start earning the profit from that, you start to give it back to us. But at the start, we will help you purchase those required tools and all the land and whatever you need. Then second is supply chain financing. Correct. So it is the same kind of thing, supply chain financing. When a farmer is purchasing something, when a small business owner is purchasing something, whatever tools, whatever machines they are going to need, that might be costly. So these banks are going to pay that amount on the behalf of these small business owners. So in this case, the problem statement, given a set of attributes for small business owner or medium-sized manufacturing industries, determine if a credit line should be extended to a business. Means they should be given a loan or not based upon whatever document they are able to present. So lot of companies have started in India, which is actually solving this problem. And in many parts of the world, this same thing is being tackled, especially with data science. In this case, also, you have been given a data set which is actually used in that company, which is being done in the real time. And you have a data like that. You can see there are total 27 columns, 27 attributes given, using which you can find out exactly what tools will be needed for this company to be able to give loan to these people who are not able to get loans. And what you have to do, how you will make a proper project. You will see the structure also, what you need to do step by step, everything is mentioned. So we will solve projects together also, and then there will be some projects we'll have to solve in groups if you want, or if you want to solve alone, you can do that, all of it. Constant support will be given to you. You will be connected with me on WhatsApp whenever you have to ask a doubt. If the doubt is small, like what happens is in big companies, in big organizations, in big edtech companies, if you join, there are 100, 150 candidates in one batch. And there are like hundreds of batches going on. So if you have to ask a small doubt also, you will have to raise a ticket. And in that case, that ticket is answered in, you can say 48 to 72 hours. Sometime in 24 hours, you will also get the answer. But in many cases, your ticket might be skipped because like hundreds of students are raising the ticket. So in this case, you will be connected directly with me on WhatsApp, on the Slack channel, and you can ask the answers with me, and other people will also be there in the same group. You can discuss among yourself. So for small problem, you might expect the answers quite frequently, okay, in a very short amount of time. If that is a very big problem that you're facing, so we can have a one-on-one session for 10-15 minutes and we can solve the problem. So all of that support will be there, which you're not going to get if you are going for those big companies, right? That is a problem specifically we are trying to solve. Now, so these are the things. Let's discuss few other things. Like in this introduction to data science, I'll discuss how do you do a proper business understanding? How do you read a business document? How do you make sense of the problem statement given to you? And how do you decide the further steps that you have to take? How much will be the time requirement to solve the project? What resources will be required? How many people you need? Those understandings will be given to you in these module number 8. After that, there is a data analytics, data science, machine learning. Different roles are there. What is the difference between them? Who should go for which role? That also we are going to help for you. Next topic is the most interesting, but the most lengthy topic also, you can say, is this machine learning. This is the crux of data science. This is what makes data science, this topic itself. The AI thing that also you are saying is a part of this machine learning. There is an advanced part of machine learning, which is written here. This is called deep learning, which is an advanced part of machine learning. This is commonly called as AI. What you know as AI, this is that topic commonly. AI is something else also, something separate also. But most of the places where you see the term AI being used, that it is having AI capabilities on all of that, they're basically talking about these deep learning capabilities. So we will study that also in this thing. As a data scientist, you don't actually need it, deep learning. But what is going to give you advantage over the other candidates, we are going to talk about that, and we will also solve some AI related projects also, 1 or 2. Mainly what is expected from you as a data scientist, what is going to be deciding factor of how much package you're going to get and which good company you're going to get accepted into is this machine learning. Now, I can teach this machine learning for 8 to 9 months, just this one topic. This is how interesting it is. This is how comprehensive and vast it is. So what we will make sure in this case is that in the live session, we will cover what is important as a fresher to crack the that machine learning interviews. That is the main agenda for that. After that, if you are interested to go into depth of it, if you want to know, and if you're very interested in mathematics and statistical thing, and if you want to go into depth of it, lot of pre-recorded videos I will create in that time, during that time, so that you can go into the mathematical details of it and you can read the research papers related to it. How do you convert research papers into projects? That also will be a lot of recordings will be available to you. But in the live session, we will cover whatever is needed for you to crack the interviews. Whichever interview is there, if you talk about the companies like Google, Microsoft, those interviews you talk about, or you talk about startups, wherever you are applying for that, we'll discuss all of it. So we'll have a lot of videos regarding YouTube also, and we'll discuss in the live session also. Any topic which is required in the machine learning is mentioned here in a proper detail, in a sequence that it should be covered. So if you look at all the topics, if you just go through that, and if you want to learn anyhow yourself, wherever, you can follow this roadmap. At least it is going to help you. Correct? So these are very crucial skills. If you don't know this deep learning that I was talking about, this deep learning, if you don't know that, no issues. As a data scientist, not required. It is an optional skill. It is mainly required for a machine learning engineer, or if you're applying for an AI engineer, this is one of the most important skills, but not as a data scientist. Now, after this, this module number 9, which is supervised learning, then module number 10, module number 11, module number 12, module number 13. From 9 to 13, these are all machine learning topics, all of them. What this natural language processing is, natural language processing is the technology behind the tools like Alexa that you know, Siri, the OK Google, the Google voice assistants that you know, Microsoft Cortana. Correct? So all of these tools, how they run, how they are able to understand your voice and able to answer accordingly, is created using this natural language processing. So natural language processing is actually one of the specializations. If you become a data scientist, they will ask you, do you want a job? Do you want to want a role as a NLP specialist, or there's another specialization which is very common called as computer vision? Do you want a role as a computer vision specialist, or do you want a role as a natural language processing specialist in data science? Right. So there is a data science generalist. Correct. There is a data science generalist. What is the work of a generalist? That person knows everything little bit, whatever is enough to handle the whole thing. That person is a generalist. But when you talk about specialists, a lot of the companies don't need generalists, they need specialists. So when we talk about specialization, this natural language processing and computer vision. So any one of these you should know. Like 80% of that, again, you will see this natural language processing. 20% of the companies are asking for this specialization, computer vision. So we will go through both of them. If you want to, whichever you're comfortable with that, you're going to see that. Computer vision, if you want to know what is that, what is this thing? This is the technology behind the self-driving cars. Correct? Self-driving cars. So you are not seeing that this thing is being done by every company. A very specific number of companies are there which are handling this kind of task, computer vision task. So 20% of the companies basically require the specialization in computer vision, specific one of them. They pay very high, but it is quite difficult to find the jobs in this. They are very limited and also require a very high experience. So my recommendation, if you're looking for that, if you're learning somehow, wherever, so you should go for this natural language processing, because you have a lot of companies which are looking for this specialization, correct? So in this case, we deal with the textual data, and the outcome of that is a tools like that, which is going to be able to understand what you say and is going to answer. A very famous implementation of this is also chatbots. If you go to websites, if you go to e-commerce platform, a lot of websites have self-answering machines. If you look at the right bottom side, you have the self-answering machines, right? So those are chatbots. How they understand your statements and how they have to create an answer which you will be satisfied with. Those things are also part of natural language processing. After that comes up module number 14. Whenever I've mentioned self-paced, it will be primarily pre-recorded. So first you will have to go through them with the recorded videos. These topics are not to be followed in a sequence. Whichever is written self-paced, you can study anytime. These are like out of the other topics. They are not related to them. What is Git and GitHub? GitHub is actually a platform. It is a platform like Google Drive. What do we do in Google Drive? On Google Drive, we store our projects. We store what we need, our files, our you can say movies or videos, whatever I want to store. Google Drive is a platform of storage. Similarly, GitHub is a platform for storing the code. In a very simple statement, I'm saying it has a lot of use case, but I'm in a very simple statement. It is a platform where you store the code of all the projects, of all the programs that you have solved. This is going to act like your portfolio. Okay, it is going to act like your portfolio. So you don't have to create a special portfolio website. If you give this link, if you give the access to your profile to anyone, they will visit your profile, they will visit your portfolio, and they will be able to see what code you have written, what projects you have solved. So to the recruiter, you don't need to send every project one by one, the files of that, the code of that. You upload that code on this particular platform, and they can look at it from this particular platform. If they like it, they will go ahead with that. If they don't like, they will. So you can have a discussion on the basis of that. Git is a version control system. So when you write code is in multiple versions. So if a software is created, you must have seen that on your Play Store, that different versions are there. And every time, after some time, you get the updates of those versions. So here, this Git is a version control system, which is going to track on what day, what changes you made to the code. So suppose if you want to go back to the previous code in some point of time, so you will be able to go back to the code with this particular tool, which is called Git. So it is a very interesting tool for controlling the versions of the project that you're creating. So if you mess up anything, you don't have to worry about, you can always go back to the previous. Okay. Now, any questions? Anyone? You want to ask any questions? Okay. So about the training, you can ask with the team. You will get that information. You can join this WhatsApp group and you can ask the admins of that about that. Okay. In a detail, you can have the discussion. For now, if you want to know anything related to these, so you can ask me about that. You have the WhatsApp group, you can have a discussion with the team. Whatever your concerns are, what you need and what you need to know, everything will be discussed. Okay. So if you don't have any question related to that, let me discuss few more things. Okay, that is the last few parts. So as I said, this is one part which is called deep learning. Yes, please.
So if we want to learn specifically the machine learning, so
Correct.
all this data science is not necessary, right?
Mm-hmm. If you want to learn machine learning, then it is not that you have to skip everything. There will be still some part of that you will have to study. Like for machine learning, you will have to study this module 1, module 2, module 3. You can skip this module number 5. Module number 5 is not required for machine learning, but module 1 to 4 is required. You can skip module 6 also. Module 6 is not required for machine learning. It is mainly a part of data science. So it is not that you have to skip the previous part. There are few modules in middle of that you can skip. Like data science is mostly machine learning. Correct. So that many things will be still there in that part.
Okay. So how about data analyst?
For data analyst, except machine learning, whichever things are there, so that will be covered. For data analyst, what you need to know is the module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, 5, 6, and you don't need feature engineering. So till module number 6, you need to know. And one extra tool is Excel. Excel basic, Excel advanced, also you need to know. That is also in the syllabus at the end. That will be in the pre-recorded format, that will be there.
And
Right, so
you have
module,
data
yes.
visualization tool is also there in your course.
Yes,
Data
visualization. Yes, these tools are there. So one Tableau is also there. And if you want to learn Power BI also, both the tools are not required for you to learn. Tableau is, I'm covering Tableau because like I said, 80% of the companies need Tableau. They prefer using Tableau. And also it is very easy to learn. You can learn Tableau in 2 weeks in detail. But for learning Power BI, you need at least 1. That is a very extensive tool. So if you need Power BI also, we can cover that also. There's no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as I said, when you combine these skills of data analysis and machine learning, then you get data science. So a lot of things are intermingled in that, combined in that. If you talk about the core data analytics, Python is also not required. So you can skip Python. But nowadays, what is happening to keep yourself ahead of multiple candidates, you will have to have the knowledge of Python. But if you already have some experience working in the analytics domain, so you can skip the Python part. So you can skip module number 1, module number 2, and for data analytics, you can go for module number 3, module number 4, 5, 6, and Excel. Correct. That is the thing. But there's a lot of competition, so it is better if you know those things. You will obviously have an edge in that case. Now, let's discuss about few more things are there. Let me discuss about that very quickly. See, the most important part of this this curriculum that I've created, which you will not find in I can easily guarantee that 95% of the curriculums again are not going to have this module, which has now become the most important topic if you want to get good roles. If you want to get high paying roles, then this is the topic which is called deployment and also MLOps. Correct? Deployment and MLOps. This is a topic which is like extra important if you want to get a higher paying role. Correct. So what in this case we need to do? In this case, we study about the tools like AWS, Azure. Mainly, I'm going to focus on AWS again because most of the companies require AWS. If you know AWS, you will be able to easily understand Azure. Correct. So Azure, AWS SageMaker, exactly. AWS SageMaker is a tool which is used for tracking purpose. It is for CI/CD pipelines that you create. It is one of the very crucial parts of that. So if I talk about just this module, for this module, people are paying in India 25,000. If I talk about in Indian rupee, 25,000 for just this module, module number 9. It looks like there are few topics only, like eight topics are there, but it is a very important, it is a very extensive process which gives you an idea about how you can convert a very simple project of data science into a real world engineering project. Correct. So this is simply a part of engineering your project to be used in the real world with real world applications. So here we study about the basics of cloud, which in this case will be AWS. And if you want Azure, I can also discuss a bit about that. So now with this case, we will discuss about CI/CD pipelines. If you know about that, then it's okay. If you don't know about it, just assume that it is something related to deployment of the project in the cloud. So once you know this thing, you can expect a very different salary, very high salary as compared to other people. Because this simple thing removes the need of a software engineer. You are doing the task of a software engineering. You're first creating a data science project and also responsible for taking it online, taking it into the real world. So this is that particular topic. And specifically why I've put that, if you go and see the videos, how to become a high paying data scientist, and if you want to get remote jobs, which pay very, very high, and you can just sit back at your home and do that work. For remote jobs, this is the number one skill that is needed. Correct. For high paying jobs, for remote jobs, this is the topic that you need to learn. Anywhere, however you learn, you should know this. Now here we have the details of the minor and major capstones which are going to be there. Let me take up some questions. Can you differentiate data analytics, data factory, data bricks? Okay. See, there are some topics which are a part of data industry, but they are not related to data science. Like this Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Bricks that you're talking about, it is part of a domain in data industry called as data engineering. Correct. There is a separate domain called as data engineering. It is also a very high paying role, a very interesting role, where you deal with the engineering part of the data. You don't do the prediction. You don't have machine learning in that. You don't have analytics part in that. What do you do in this field, in this role, is taking care of or dealing with high frequency data or a large amount of data you handle in this case. Like recently World Cup was broadcasted in a platform called as Hotstar in India. So when World Cup was broadcasted, there was a streaming that was done. So around, you can say 5.7 crore people, or you can say 57 million, right? Yeah, so 57 million people were watching at the same time the World Cup finals. This much amount of public. So in that case, every person has to have access to the data when they're streaming, when they're running that. So who is going to manage that everyone gets the data properly? There should be no breakage. There should be no buffering in that case in the background. Some part of that is handled by software engineering, but a very big chunk of that is done by the data engineers. So how the data is traveling in a very large frequency, in a large amount, that is handled by the data engineers. So basically, they handle big data, something that is called big data. So there is another job role which is called big data engineers. So big data engineers are something similar to data engineers that you say. Big data, they handle the same thing. So the set of tools, the set of skills which are needed are different from what you have in data science. So that we are not going to cover because that is a very simple separate thing. If you are interested in that, then you can look for any program that is helping you for that. Might be you are interested, but that is more on an engineering part. If you want to enjoy the machine learning part, if you want to enjoy the analytics part, so you can go through this. We have everything in this course. If you talk about which has the more opportunities, currently data science has more opportunities, but if you want to go for data engineering, that is a very fast growing domain as of now. But if you talk about currently, you have more roles in the data industry, in data science. Because in data science, you open up to a lot of roles, like research analyst, business analyst, statistical analyst, machine learning engineer, data scientist. So you have multiple roles open up by just doing one program. So that is why you have more options to get into industry. That is the thing. Correct? So now, if you have any question, let me know. Otherwise, we'll discuss about the tools which are needed for data science, for writing Python. I'm going to start discussing that. No. These 5 days are just for your understanding. If you like my teaching style or if you want to continue forward, then after the 5 days, you will have to enroll to the program. 5 days are for your understanding. You can think of it as like a demo. So instead of 1 day demo, I wanted to give you a whole idea of how things are going to happen, how I'm going to teach, what is my teaching style. That I wanted to show you. Also, before we go ahead to those part, let me show you something that I'm going to help you with. So this is a machine learning topic. When we talk about that machine learning topic, in this case, the algorithms that you are going to study, those algorithms are quite mathematical and all of that. So I have made sure I have a lot of notes ready for you, which is going to help you so that you don't have to create any notes. If you don't have much time, you don't have to worry about that. Everything will be pre-created to you in the most simple to understand manner. And you can just go through that, like diagrammatically, what equations you need to remember, what formulas you need to remember, what you have to answer specifically in the interviews will be mentioned in this case, in the documents. Just let me show you what I have. You can take a look. In detail, everything will be mentioned and everything will be given to you like this. For each and every topic, wherever theoretical things are needed for you to know, these are all drawn, these are all created for you. Each of these files have images also, the notes also, whatever you need, everything is already created in these. So a notes like that, you will not get anywhere. That also I can guarantee, because this is the most comprehensive. And I have created this with my experience of last 3 to 4 years. This is a very extensive thing that has been done. So you can take advantage of that. You don't have to do any work from your side. You can simply study from that, and that will help you a lot. Correct? So it can make your journey faster. So how we are able to complete these many things in 4 months, this is a whole 4-month program, is because a lot of things are created for you. You don't have to waste time. You don't have to spend time for unnecessary thing. We'll just do the main important part. We'll just focus on that. And then whatever you need for a theoretical purpose will be already created for you and will be given to you. So that will supercharge our journey, and it will help us to complete this bootcamp much faster. Correct. So these are the things you can expect. And also I shown you that you can expect the documents, like the business documents. So you are going to make projects, but with that, you will have these documents to show with your project that I have this document. These are the questions I have solved. And these are very rare things. You will not find these kinds of easily, but I have created that for you. You can include those in your project documents. So this will increase your chances. So these projects that are there, it is going to put you in the top 5% candidates. I can guarantee that, because I have seen a lot of people in different countries also. I have experience of that, extensive experience of that, because I've given the corporate trainings too. So I know what exactly those companies are looking for, and these are going to give you a very high advantage, very high advantage. So you have to put very less effort because a lot of things are already done for you. These are what we are offering. And again, the best part, you will be connected and you can have a one-on-one discussion anytime you need any help and support. Those things will be quite frequent, quite fast. Now, so I'll show you a few basic things, and then the technical parts we will start from tomorrow. I don't want to take much of your time. I want to keep this simple and light for today, right? So let's see, if you are interested in learning, what are the things you need to learn in this case for writing the code. You need some tools where you can write the code. So what are those tools? How do you install that? Let's go through that process. The very first tool which you need is called 𝐴naconda. So if you want to do the installation process, you can just search with me 𝐴naconda. Right? If you write 𝐴naconda installation, whatever, if you write that, then you will come onto the page where you can download that software. The softwares again that we are going to use will be open source, will be free for our usage. They have the paid version also, but these paid versions you are going to use in the industry. Industry will give you the paid access of that. Why do you need paid access? Because the paid access give you more functionalities which are needed in the industry, not needed for our individual projects. Now, once you're onto this page, then you will have to search for this link, free download. I'll share this link with you. So this is the page where you download this tool. Now, if you go to this page, automatically, according to your operating system, if you are using Mac OS, you will see already Mac Apple symbol will be created here with the download option. I'm using Windows, so I'm seeing currently Windows icon. If you're using Linux, you might be seeing Linux directly with that. If you are not seeing those icons for your operating system, you can click on these icons which you see at the bottom for your particular operating system. So once you click on that, the download process will start. A software is going to be downloaded. You just have to double click on that downloaded software to start the installation process. Now, to go through that installation process, there is a documentation I'll share, which is going to help you for that, which is installing. What steps to take, when to take what part in that installation process, everything will be mentioned here stepwise. Correct? So if you have any problem, we will do the installation ourselves. You can share the screen and you can discuss what problems you're facing. But in this case, you will be able to install very easily because steps are mentioned. What you need to do first, then second, then third, all of that is mentioned. So for Windows, this is the URL. You can open it, you can bookmark it. And for the Mac OS, if you look at it on the left side itself, you have for the Mac OS, and for installing on the Linux, you have the particular pages for those. So they will explain how these things are done on particular operating system. So you don't have to just make a guess. Everything is mentioned stepwise. So this for Mac OS. Right. So if you look at it, these are also images are also given. So what you have to do on those particular pages, that also is discussed. Now, what is 𝐴naconda? 𝐴naconda is a collection of multiple tools. It is not one software. It is a collection. It is a package of multiple tools, which are all needed for data science purpose. So 𝐴naconda is a collection of like more than 15 different tools, which are packed inside of that one big software. And those tools are all needed for data purpose and for development purpose. All those tools which you need is inside that. So you have to install it if you want to work on data related thing. If you want to learn data science, you will have to work on this. This is used for individual purpose also, and this is used in the industry also, both the places. So you can go through the installation and you can do it on your free time after this session. So just make sure you bookmark these URLs. Click on that and bookmark. Next, let me discuss about one more very interesting tool, and I'll tell you a few basic things which you know as a programmer. So I'm going to make sure also that if you don't belong to computer science domain, if you have never done anything related to computer science, so you start to understand those programming related terms also. There are very critical technical terms. If you hear them, you will think they are very difficult, but those are actually very simple. So during the time of our course, we are going to talk about multiple technical terms, what they mean, how do you become comfortable with that? Because as a programmer, you will have to talk in those terms. It is not something that you can avoid. So what those things mean and how do you understand that in a very simple terms, we'll discuss that. Correct? Now, so what do you need to search? You need to search Colab. You can just search Colab, or you can also write Google Colab. Correct. And you just search for it. Now, the Anaconda that I have given to you is an offline tool. You can install that on your system and you can write the code if you are offline also. That will work. Because everything is going to be installed. All the support that you're going to need to write that code, to run that code, is going to be installed on your local system. Suppose for some reason you can't install it on your local system. Maybe you're using some system where you cannot do the installation. For that purpose, you have a similar service online, which you can do online, which is a website related service. You don't have to install anything. It will be all in the cloud. So you can write the code, you can download the code, but you don't have to install anything in this case. And that particular tool is Google Colab. So Google has a service which is called Google Collaboratory. The complete name is Google Collaboratory, which is exact same thing what we have in the Anaconda. If you open that, if you click on that link, welcome to Collaboratory, a page like this is going to open up. You can all try. You will see a page like this will open up. And once this page you see in front of you, then you will see a button at the bottom, new notebook. For you, nothing like this will be written. But in my case, these things are there because I have worked on these different files. So you have to simply click on new notebook. Few basic things I'm discussing, not going into detail with that. Details we'll see from tomorrow. Now, so once you click on that, you are going to get these things where you can practice this code. Also, one thing I just wanted to say that if you are joining the sessions for the upcoming 5 sessions, if you join that, we are going to give you something for free for you, which is that the first 2 modules that we have, which is Python and also that numpy and pandas, that data manipulation tool I was talking about. So first 2 tools, we will have a recorded video for you. We will give you access to that if you are able to join, if you are there for next 5 sessions, as a thank you from our side, right? So those things are there, and that will help you a lot. Those are just seem to be like 2 small modules, but those are very important, very powerful modules. Python programming, which is going to teach you all related to programming, with multiple questions solved in that, problem solving also done in that, and numpy and pandas, which will give you an idea about how data manipulation is done in the data industry. And a small project also will be there related to that. Now, so what is this tool? This is a tool where you can write the code. Whenever you write the code, there are something which you need to know. What are the things required? What are the basic things you need so that your code can run? We are going to discuss that. Let's see. This is a very important, very crucial part. Don't have to understand a lot of technical things. Very simple things I'll tell. So whenever you write a code, that code is on a file. Like we have a text file in we write the paragraph, we write the text. Correct. We have a Word file where we write the paragraphs, we write the Word documents. We have Excel files where we deal with the data in rows and column format. Similarly, there is a file in which we write the code. And in the case of Python, that file is having an extension of .py, Python code. Now, this code that you're using, this tool that you're using, which is Anaconda and Google Colab, They both use a very similar type of extension, which is called IPYL, which is integrated Python notebook file. But there are also Python files basically. So you can think of that as, let's say, file1.ipyl. This is the file in which multiple lines of code are written. So once you have written the code, where are you going to store this file? You are going to store this file. This is a very common thing, that it is going to be stored on your hard drive. Hard drive. Hard drive is what? Your laptop must have 1 terabyte of space, 512 GB of space. That thing, that storage that you have is called, just a minute. Okay, no, sorry. So whenever you are going to write a code, this is a file, like any text file and all of that. This is a file. Now, if you are running this code, if you are executing this code, then what happens? Your file is taken from here, and then it is transferred to another entity, another part of your computer system, which is called a RAM. Why RAM? This is a very classic computer knowledge, which every person need to have. If you're writing code, if you're dealing with code, this is very important. Why it is important? So that you can optimize the writing process, you can optimize the code, you can optimize the time which the code is taking to run, to execute. So when you're writing the code and you save a file, that file is going to be stored on your hard drive, in your C drive, D drive, E drive, on your desktop, on your downloads folder. That is all hard drive. But there is something called as a RAM. RAM is your storage, which is 8 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte. That is your RAM. RAM is what? RAM is a virtual memory, which is faster, much faster than hard drive. This RAM is also some kind of storage. Hard drive is also some kind of storage. But RAM is something which is volatile. If you close the system, whatever was stored on this will be cleared, will be removed. If you close your laptop, if you close your systems, everything is removed from that. Why I'm discussing these things with you? Because you need to know, when you're writing the code, what entities you're making use of. So if something goes wrong, you can understand at least why it might be going wrong, where it is stuck. A lot of things, this problem happens. Now, your file was on the hard drive. From your hard drive, it is shifted to the RAM. Suppose the file size is, let's say, 20 MB. 20 megabytes is the file size in which you have written the code. If you are executing that from hard drive, it will be shifted, and 20 megabytes of space it is going to take on the RAM. Why? Because when the file is put here and when the code is executed here while it is on the RAM, it is going to be much, much faster, like 50 to 100 times faster than it would have executed on the hard drive. That is why. So to execute the code much faster with a much faster speed, we transfer it here. Now the RAM is limited. Why it is limited? Because it is much faster, so it is expensive. You can't have 512 GB of RAM or 128 GB of RAM on 1 terabyte of RAM. That will be very, very expensive, since these are faster and these are used for specific purpose. But these are slow, so they are cheap also. You can afford a very high storage for that. So in this case, whenever you are running the code, what two entities you need basically is, one, you need a hard drive so that you can store this file, and you need a RAM space so that your code can run. That is why when you go to industry and you're dealing with the data science project, you will be given the systems which will have the RAM like 64 gigabyte of RAM, 32 gigabyte of RAM, 128 gigabyte of RAM. These are the type of systems that you will be given as a data scientist to work, because as you start loading the data, we will work on different type of data. As you start loading more and more data on the file size increases. And if file size increases here also it will increase. So might be you don't have that much space on your RAM. Correct. So your RAM, why would you not have space on the RAM? So RAM is one thing which is responsible for running other tools also, which we have on our system. As you can see, I have an Excel file open here at the bottom. I have a Zoom system open. I have a notebook file. I have a browser open. I have another software. I have a folder open. All of the processes which are running on my system, they all need RAM to run. All of these systems. They also are running on RAM. They are taking some space on the RAM. So if you're watching a video, if you're watching a movie, if you're playing a game, you need RAM space. That is why the very basic things is that if you're working for big data science project, you would need a system with higher RAM. And you don't have to worry, your individual projects are not going to need that much of RAM, but the projects which are going to work in company will need a very high-end systems that you're going to get. So that is also one very good perk of working as a data scientist, because you will have a very high-end system, which will be quite interesting to work. In most of the cases, you can expect MacBook to be given to you because they are quite fast and they have much better speeds and much, you can say, managed things in this case. Now, why did I discuss that with you? In the context of whenever you're writing the code, this will be in the play. Also, this is a tool, this Google Colab I was discussing, this is a tool where you write the code online. You don't have to install anything. So if this code is running in the online service, online servers, so from somewhere we must be getting this disk space, hard drive space, and somewhere we must be getting the RAM. So if these things are not running on our system, if this is running on website, who is giving us that hard drive space and this RAM? In this case, since this service is from Google, so Google is going to give us some hard drive space and some RAM so that we can write our code, we can run our code, and we will not have any problem. Now, this is a free service as of now. So the small projects that you're going to make as an individual level, you will be able to do that on the free tier basis. That is not a problem. But when you go to companies and you need more storage and you need more RAM, which is not available on a free tier service. So there is a paid service also of this Google Colab, which will give you access to a system which will have 64 GB, 32 GB in the cloud. You don't need any physical system. So even if you're sitting somewhere on the beach, enjoying your vacations, and you need to do a very big data science task, you don't need to have your desktop around with you. You don't need to even have a very heavy laptop, which is having a big configuration. You can have a simple, a thin MacBook you can have, and you can use these tools from the online service and you can write all of those. That kind of advantages now we have. Correct? So let me show you why I said that we are going to need some space and the RAM, and Google is going to give that to us. Let me write a very simple code, the very first Python code. You don't need to write it, just have a look. From tomorrow, we'll go into these things. If I write this code, and if I have to execute, if I have to see what is the output of this particular code, I will press on this play button. There's this play button, which is going to execute the code that I've written. What is the meaning of this code? What is the output of this code? Then I will see. So whenever I run this, click on the play button, look at this thing. Here I have a connect button, but as soon as I press the play button, see, it is now connecting. Where it is connecting to? It is connecting to Google server. Google server. So it is making a connection to that. In that Google server, whatever space is available, that will be given to us. And now you can see RAM and disk it is showing. It is connected to Google server. And now whatever code you are going to write, it will be executed. And it is not using our computer system resources. It is using Google's computer system resources. What it is using from our side is just a browser, simple browser. Internet connection should be there, but any load will not be there on our system. The load will be onto the Google server because we are using the RAM and disk space of Google server. So this is one of the tools which we will use mostly and for writing a lot of code, because this is a code you will use. This is the tool you will use in the industry a lot, right? Most of the companies use Anaconda also, but many companies use Collab also for multiple big projects, right? That is the thing. So from tomorrow, we will go into the details of that. I'll request you please join in time so that you will learn something very interesting things in the next 4 sessions. We will discuss about a lot of details like that. I'll try to make it very simple, and I'll try to connect it. How do you understand the code? How do you understand the technical details? So you will kind of feel like even if you have not done computer science, you will be able to understand, you will be able to talk in those technical terms. So I think this is all for today. I don't want to keep it more. We'll keep it light for today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shikhar. Guys, if you have any questions, you have a option to unmute your mic and you can ask any questions.
Correct. So first thing is, do let me know how do you did you enjoy the session? Was it easy, comfortable for you? You got the idea what we were trying to say. You can write the responses in the chat box also. If I was able to make all the things clear, if I have given a correct or a easy to understand roadmap to all of you. So that also is one thing you can take from the session. Anyone want to discuss anything, you can let me know that. Tomorrow, same time, we'll start the session. We'll go into the technical details of that. And you'll enjoy the learning process of data science and Python programming. I can take care of that. Okay, the time and the fee detail, you can just discuss